big event.
Oh,
He
yeah.
usually little, he does expect that we should give up, like, we should have, you don't do extreme what we're doing, extreme what we're doing.
Good morning.
This is hard for me.
It's Friday, February the 23rd, in 2018. This is music theory something. I think we should play, and it doesn't count if you've seen the person already. Let's do play Who's Next Into the Door? Do you want to play individuals, or do you want to play as a class? We vote on one person.
I think individuals.
Okay. Anyone who wants to participate may make a choice.
I say Dalton.
Dalton!
I say Christian.
I say Kevin.
Well, we're all good. Okay, anybody else? We got girl types or all
Alright,
girl
Dalton will be
types here?
first, then Christian, then
We all know Jude's gonna be last. Yeah, we're KJ. We're just gonna have to. Okay, just to be fair, I'll make KJ. So I know I'll let.
I'm switching my to Frederick.
Ooh, Frederick.
Yeah.
You never know. Frederick is a random dude. That was not meant to be a denigration of his randomness. Okay. I have older tests and papers to give back, and I'll say it to the World Wide Web. In the future, you need to ask me for your test if I have not given it to you, or your homework paper, all right? Okay. And if I am going to my office, or I'm right here, I will give it to you. If I'm going away from my office, I have no responsibility for your request, okay?
Fair enough. Show up on time.
You know what I've noticed today? Sam, tall. Sam is tall. Like 6'4", 6'5". Wow. Take these tests, dude. Great.
I wonder what it's like on that side of
You want to go to the other?
That's unfortunate.
I don't know, dude, the west side is pretty.
Okay. There was an accident at the workstation.
Oh, that's no big deal. It's okay.
All right, I have. If you were to guess, who had Christian? Anybody?
I changed.
I think Trevor passed on a bet. We were playing next in the door. I think that's what you asked me about.
Now it's Frederick.
Okay. Got 2 papers left. Anybody want to guess the instrument that person made?
Percussion.
Percussion.
That's right. 2 different percussionists.
How did I know?
Okay. All right, here's the next news about test 2. I haven't graded it, and I'm not even going to apologize for it. I will get to it when I get to it. That's not how I've been with this class since about October. In October, I decided to take over the grading and to evaluate your work as quickly as I possibly could. Because I've sort of, I was searching for ways to better help you understand the mysteries of music theory. And I'm having sort of a life change in that I've taught people your age for many, many years and have always been able to do that in a real kind of way just by saying do it. And I've also found over the years that many students have had me as an important part of their life. Like, my being here meant something to their experience as a college student. And through the force of my personality, I got people to achieve many things. And I do still have certain students who do really interesting and great work. But in terms of my classroom teaching, I'm struggling for a new way. And I've been thinking about it lately. We don't have room for influences in our life like our private teacher, our theory instructor, our pastor, our whatever else, because we have so many other simultaneous relationships going on. Because, you know, we have to interact not daily, not weekly, not even hourly, quarterly, hourly, with the entire rest of the world. Is this an amazing thing? Absolutely. Is the internet, Facebook, porn chat, whatever y'all do, is it a great thing? Yes. Or real life. I didn't think that was all that explicit. Porn is not an illegal word. I was just making fun of Snapchat.
It depends on.
Did y'all get the Snapchat?
Okay, he's got a point.
I don't.
That's what people use.
I don't do Snapchat. I used to do Tinder until my mind just sort of went, I'm dead inside. That was my mind talking about my soul. And Facebook I started a couple years ago, and for the most part really enjoyed it. I also look at like what Google decides is important, you know, and it does help me understand the relationship of Kylie and Kendall Jenner, you know. I mean, that's what Google thinks I should be looking at. I guess they know me well. Anyway, not a big point. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. But I am trying to engage on the internet. I have a YouTube channel for USA, and one video had 7 views.
Oh boy.
Shit.
Yes.
Woo.
You know, I'm gonna subscribe.
I also have my own personal YouTube channel that it's probably got in the teens of subscribers, and some views even maybe in the hundreds of some of my music, reaching not just international, but really intergalactic audiences. There's someone in another universe, is that a thing? Another galaxy. In another galaxy who is streaming our kitty cat videos from Earth. It's like thinking we're an advanced civilization. So this is not a negative thing. It's a very philosophical thing. It is what it is. It is what it is. I still get the same amount of money either way. All right? I do. And I can't honestly say I'm in it for the money, but I'd have to do something else if there wasn't money. I don't have another option except to work. Because of that, I don't let certain things enter my mind unless I'm prepared to deal with them. Like, I hate my job. I'll never say that. I'll never say that. Because if I say I hate my job and I don't quit, I am a liar to myself. And I am only a liar to other people. I will not lie to myself. quite honest. Y'all had enough? Let's move on. All right. Would you think there was anything on your homework that could stand for some explanation?
Yes.
I will
Maybe the
do
fir-
what you choose, and I'll like take it to those extra levels of understanding.
Maybe to the first example.
I think we've done that
Oh,
twice.
sorry, don't yell at me.
You'll know, I will. Yes.
Can we go back over the common tone for the
Yes. Let's do the second line.
Yes. Okay. And I will, oh yeah, you got the bronze. Who got the gold? Who had Christian? Nobody?
Nobody.
Trevor switched.
The person who had Christian failed his drug test. So the gold was vacated.
Yes. For the past like 2-3 times.
I am the silver medal winner.
Yeah.
And Trev, even though he failed the drug test, is the bronze. Another thing just to share with you, you'll often see me, just because I'm a goof, but if I have to talk to a large amount of people, even if they're like fancy people, I'll always get my hands up at least once, because it's really a thing. If you have to do something scary, like say a jury, or go talk to your teacher, or you have to make a presentation, just a few minutes of exalted hand raising will really change your atmosphere. And I don't say this just to be a goof, it's a real thing. What's the one thing that you can control in your life is your mental attitude. And I think the thing to have is PMA, positive mental attitude. If you're gonna do it anyway, better to be positive about it. Because it's easy to be negative. Because most things, oh, I got all negative, I'm sorry. Woo! I'm rolling out a new marker, but also an old marker. Oh, this one's
Start with the old one.
I don't know, it's
Start with the old one.
This one might be the new one. All right, common tone, I got totally off track, I apologize. I will say this again, common tone diminished seventh chords really almost never happen in the music that we are primarily studying, but it is of central interest because it is chromatic alteration to tonality that creates a chord that functions in a way that is not similar to its primary function. That was very awkward. I'm sorry. I'm glad you were paying attention by the middle of that sentence. It's a fully diminished seventh chord that doesn't function as a dominant substitution. Okay, but with that being said, it is a doubly chromatic semitone, diatonic semitone relationship to two tones instead of one tone. What is another chord that we learn that's used more than a common tone diminished seventh chord that sounds like one thing, but is another thing with another function? It's exactly right. I don't know what the mumbledy-mumbledies were, but the German sixth was the correct answer. Secondarily, the Italian sixth, because in essence, it really does sound like a dominant seventh too. Okay, what key would, which one?
Second.
Okay, we're gonna say, this is in the key of E major. I've made a fashion decision, and since it's kind of subtle, I'm gonna fill you in on it here pretty quick. And that is, I've added a little bit of Scotch tape to my Armani glasses, or Brooks Brothers glasses, just to, you know, you don't always want to be completely symmetrical, although, I am trying to get new glasses. What a chore that is. I'm gonna put this in the position of the root in the soprano, just for kicks. You could do other things, but it kind of, when we put this note, the doubled root, or in this case, the doubled tonic, in the soprano, we can clearly see why, or what we have to do with that particular note. Whereas the other two notes are very straightforward. They just lower neighbor the third and the fifth. Okay? Is that clear? Claritin clear? Now, this chord is, something looks weird there.
Is it the F sharp?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. It's good to know stuff, because Dr. Durant is somewhere between too sober and too inebriated in just that perfectly wrong place. All right. F double sharp, A sharp, what's the next would be C sharp, right? And then E. So this is where this note goes down to here, and it will do that in any voice that is present. All right? Here is where that takes diversion from the boogie trail. This note may quite convincingly double the fifth, and when you hear it, you'll understand why. Or alternatively, go back from whence it came. Both of them totally acceptable. Now, yes, oh, well, we don't double that note in a cadence usually. Is that true? Why is that not the case here? Because this isn't a cadence. This is the cadence already. The 5-to-1 happened here. This is just a prolongation of that, sort of like a coda in a big sense. This is just in a two-note sense, okay? Codetta, etta, etta. Okay. Play, play. Thank you. So I will, through years of practice, voice the upper note in such a way that you can hear its movement better. Okay? Oops. And maybe the other notes too. Do you hear how that? Okay? Now, I'll do it the other way with hopefully equal aplomb. I didn't really voice that well. You could figure that in your head too. Okay? Any questions about that, Rocky in particular, or anyone else in perhaps? It's pretty straightforward. The thing is, it's hard to remember, so it'd be nice to have some place in your notes where you explain that, and you can look back to it, because it almost never comes up. Okay, it really just never comes up. But if it does come up, and you're able to say what it is, that's impressive. That's impressive. Okay, I'm willing to do something else. Yes?
Are all the common towns would finish 7 books? Like the octave is gonna move down a third, and then the other two
Yes,
are gonna.
yes. Regardless of the upper 3 voices voicing. The voicing doesn't matter, the doubled root does one of those 2 things. But the reason for the common tone diminished 7, that's the common tone, right? This is the doubled. So, if you're thinking this way, you have a triad. EGB. Okay, let's not think about the double. We have EGB, we have the common tone, we have a double chromatic neighbor, okay? And back. Now, in 4-part writing, we have another voice. Now, could you double this voice here? Yes, there's other things you could do. But generally, it's going to be this, to this, to this, or this, to this, to that. Regardless of the key, regardless of the voicing. I put the voicing in the soprano just to make it clear. Okay? Next, have we done everything now?
No.
Is your entire homework paper done?
No.
I'm prepared to do something
Okay.
else.
Let's do, what about the,
Speak louder.
what about the bottom of the first page?
Okay.
Dr. Gray, do you have any more sheets?
Yes, this one even has a high foot count.
Oh, thanks.
Man, I was spot on picking the houses in the house hunter last night. I seem to go for like, for a while I'll pick them every time and then I just can't pick them and it's like, why would you do this? All right. Now
Common tone diminished.
I probably. I have clean white staff paper if anyone would like some. That should do you for a while, Rocky.
Can you pass this on?
The thing is, I don't think I have any more worksheet papers to refer to as I work on my board. Because I could do it too. I just have no more homeworks. So I guess we're done.
No. Someone, there we go. Thank you, Rocky.
I can just watch it on the thing.
Well, I'll just write this on the board. Everybody start working on number 2. I don't want to do it all by myself. I want you to reap the benefits of your labors. Just like Dr. Mendock did. Bragger's joke. I probably told you this before, but I delivered all 3 of my children at home.
Why?
Well, that's the way to do things.
Oh.
That's the way you do it. It's really not hard. I basically, and I had experience as a child. You get your catcher's mitt. Fire in there, baby! Fire in there!
I got it, guys.
I had a midwife to assist. I could do it on my own in an emergency because I am a doctor. But I'd rather not. I don't want to deliver anyone's baby. The reason we did it at home was because that's what my wife wanted. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. It was a lot of fun in retrospect. Am I glad they're all grown up now? Yes. This is kind of not a super hard example. I don't know whether you noticed that or not. My part writing always looks like my monthly spending. It's like, oh yeah, plenty of room. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody understands that.
Oh, absolutely.
You want to all start on the same note? You want to choose? I know which I choose, but you know.
I want to know what you choose.
Oh no,
I wanna know what you choose.
Who? I let Bailey choose.
Bailey too.
I would start with the G. Tenor.
Yeah, that's how I was
I'll probably start with the B.
B in the tenor. Okay, I will go with that with keeping the right to change it.
I'm not erasing my
There's some weird discussions going on about teaching right now.
Oh no.
Yeah, it really would be humorous if it wasn't real, you know?
Teachers and guns.
I think we're gonna lock the door and bust out the window.
Yeah, that's what.
It would work better if Dalton was here. We'll get a couple of other jobs to substitute.
We can just throw the piano.
Not
As a
this
battering ram.
plastic piece of crap. We need something more substantial.
All hide behind the curtains.
I'll go
Hoping that no one's here.
Oh, we have a safety plan, guys.
Just high five.
Bullets don't go through curtains.
Bullets don't go through curtains.
Of course not. If they can't see you.
If they can't see you, they can't see you.
You know, we did have training a year ago about what to do as a faculty during an active shooter.
Yeah.
And the first is cover and conceal.
Concealed.
Second is some else, and some else, and the last one's
So safe.
get everybody together and attack.
Fire your flag.
They make the section leaders for the marching band go through active shooter training.
Scary.
Really?
I had to do that this year.
Wow.
It was a little scary, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
If I was ever put in that situation,
You
I'd
know,
probably pass out.
to be real, even with all the apparent mayhem going on now, I mean, it's terrible, I agree. But but the world that we live in is not nearly as dangerous as the world that I grew up in. Murder rates were double back in the 70s.
Down here?
Everywhere.
I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Also, you know, we all got sent to Vietnam, even if you were in college. I missed Vietnam by a month.
You were lucky.
I don't know what I would have done. I wasn't all pro Vietnam at all. I was considering playing the tuba. Many of my colleagues in high school went into service bands. Can't say we didn't have a lot of fun back then, though. But what was dangerous at school was not shooters coming through, but somebody just kicking your ass any day of the week. That was reality at my high school. Just really getting whooped. They also beat you back then, put you over the desk and hit you with the
They
paddle.
have that.
In
when we
high
were-
school, how freaking humiliating is that?
They still had that when we were like halfway through elementary school.
And
My mom was a teacher.
when I was in second grade, I had a teacher snatch me up by my ear and pull me in front of the room and start beating me with the paddle.
Well,
It's like,
My mom was.
as you might imagine, you want to know what it was for? I was sitting at my desk. Now, why this was, but I was sitting at my desk with my legs double crossed, like now I would do to do eagle pose, you know, this. But I was just sitting like that. I don't know whether she thought that was effeminate or, you know, men back in the 20th century weren't really supposed to sit like that. You're always supposed to have the man cross, you know, only ladies sit like this.
Ladies are supposed to cross their legs at the ankle.
Good luck
So
with
that
that.
doesn't even.
good luck with that. All right.
That's- Whatever. Are we glad it's Friday? Maybe just a little. Without any events this weekend, but never fear, next week is chock full of things to do. I'm gonna put an F sharp here, does anyone object? And even though, why am I not moving this voice to that voice? Just say augmented second and I'll be cool with that.
And you would,
What voice?
Normally you would want, huh?
you would also be done with believe.
That's what I was afraid of. I never
No. Pretend I moved this note to A. Okay. Oh, okay, that wasn't clear, and that was my fault.
No, it's
What do you mean
I was
double?
really- Like that, I mean, that would be a simple solution to what you have there. But in reality, what is this? This is roots a second apart, right? So you don't really want to move in parallel motion, as you can see. Multiple bad things happens, kind of like some of you will experience after midnight tonight. Multiple bad things happen.
What?
Okay.
It's Friday night.
Party time.
Bad things happen after midnight.
I don't think you can be allowed to kind of.
Don't drive around if you can help it. You better be coming home from work. Yeah, I'm coming home from work, officer. When'd you get off work? 5:15. Okay, what's the best solution here to the voicing I got?
Brain.
Yes, Kyle?
C to D, alpha, and F sharp, and just incomplete.
Woo! Mind blown. Okay, don't read my mind anymore. Now, is that gonna work? Let me tell you, no, it's not, but it was a really good idea. Why is it not gonna work? Because you've been deceived here on this next note. And, what? I'm gonna have parallel octaves, would I do that? No, I wouldn't.
Damn it. See,
So, in this case, we're not gonna keep the common tone. We're gonna revoice that. Okay? And now, quickly and quietly, we can move to that. Now, I probably could do several things here. I could do that. That seems fine. I could do other things. What do you think I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna do that. What do you think I wanna do? Because that's not what I do. That's not a very good explanation, but my first choice is going to be what? What note am I gonna double? Just say C, that will speed things up. I will ask the questions and answer them. We wanna double the root of the chord. It's a very stable note in this key. It's the 4 chord, right? Okay, great. So, the question is, which G is going to move to the C? Soprano or tenor?
ooh, tenor. Tenor.
I said
The
ten.
thing is, I think,
Tenor.
yeah.
Because if you do that, then you'll
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
well,
who said soprano? All right. Now, they're both correct, I think. They would not be counted wrong, and I don't know what's coming next. What we're talking about here is making a decision for that note, like Kyle made for the last note. It was a great decision, but then it didn't work out. But you have to make one decision first, and then decide. You will have already thought of the other options by the time you make that decision. So when you move on and realize something different has to happen, you can go to one of those other decisions. Now, to understand the depravity of my mind a little better, I'm going to move the soprano, and guess why?
That was a big jump.
And I'm a big boy. 6'2", 160. That's my fighting weight. So, we'll, y'all just line up out at the fountain. I'll take one after the other. What I'm trying not to put the thought in your head is, well, if we just all came at him at the same time. Finally, I'd be running down the hall with like only a couple scraps of clothes on me. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't really want to put that image in your head. Oh, I know. Let's clear that up. What if I just walked in with a big basket of puppies? Wouldn't that be the greatest thing?
No.
It was like, oh,
No.
who gets a puppy today? And
First of all, get
they
the
were
puppy.
good puppies, and you didn't even have to house train them. They were just the best puppies ever. They didn't throw up on a carpet or anything. Okay, so why did I do this instead of the other? I'll tell you, because I would have crossed voices here. Now, would that have stopped me if that were the best solution? No. Just like here, when I decided not to keep the common tone, that was the best solution. Here, I made this leap at the fifth instead of a smaller leap because of that one thought. Yes?
What do you mean cross voices?
Well, it's not the same as like crossing the bass and the tenor. That's a no-no. But if you look here, this C, this G would cross over the position that was formerly occupied by that alto voice. The tenor would cross over the previous position of the alto voice, which is a no-no in basic four-part vocal part writing. It's not such the component of keyboard, but I use that just to give me a starting point because I still have that back in the brain. Some of my students' names, not back there, but that factoid is there. What's next? It looks like what? What's about to happen? And don't say the wrong thing. Trevor, I think, is on the right path. What? Say loud.
Phrygian half.
It is a Phrygian half cadence.
Wait.
Okay, what's important about the Phrygian? I think it's quite simple to see that one of these C's is going to move outward to this D, and that is really the essence of the Phrygian half cadence. Okie dokie? Now, it's quite obvious to everyone that that G is going to go to F sharp. Yes?
Yes.
What isn't as apparent is where the C goes, but by now we should be able to do that. Now, when is that not going to be appropriate? If the C in the soprano moves to the A, that would be what?
Direct fifths.
That would be direct fifths. So pretend that, could we even do that? We'd have to have this voiced differently, but pretend the voicing was, say, this, and then it went to this. That would make that a direct fifth. Was that too confusing? This is not part of that equation right now, all right? So when you're doing a Phrygian half cadence, you don't want to, I got two loaded, opened markers right here. That's dangerous. Now, what happens here should be a clear voice exchange. This is what we want to happen there. We're not, this blows my mind. It doesn't always happen with the dominant, but often I'll have two consecutive chords that go root position, first inversion, and people don't voice exchange there. Now in this case, we would have to voice exchange or we would double the leading tone, right? Uh-huh. And then it would be sadness. I think for me, this is kind of where I'm at here. This D can't go down to B flat or we're going to start running into some keyboard style issues. Now this is fully diminished seventh here, and we really want it to come right back from whence we came. And this is easy enough to supply the basics of that just by putting that diminished fifth in the outer voice like that, okay? Now, this allows for this to be an augmented fourth. This may be this or this. Now, we would be allowed to double that note there because it's a stable tone. It's not the leading tone or anything bad like that. So if we wanted to, we could direct the augmented fourth to go outward, or we could just make this in essence a neighbor fully diminished seventh chord, functioning also as the dominant. Okay, what is the essence of a fully diminished seventh chord? Is a flat 9 chord, which is dominant in effect, right? I'll play that just so you hear it. If I'm playing, oh boy. There's a fully diminished seventh chord. If I add a D below that, there's your, that would be D7 flat 9, right? Something like that, D7 flat 9. And what does a ninth chord do? Same as a seventh chord. Everything resolves the way a seventh chord would resolve. How about 11? Same, just like 7. How about a 13? Same. How about a 15?
Yeah,
Same.
like, yeah.
It is the same. That would be the same. That would actually just be
C
a
chord.
major chord.
D's
Well,
like the 2 chord.
never mind. Okay, the clock is ticking on excitement here. This is a 265 chord here.